What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Swimbait Sessions number 3. Out here with Billy, and got a couple big baits we're gonna be throwing around today and hopefully catching some deep suspended fish. Shout out to Oliver Nye. He hooked me up with a Defiant 210. Reached out on Instagram, was like, hey, have you ever tried out these Defiant swim baits? Hadn't tried them out. I don't think Billy had any either. And luckily enough, and kindly of Oliver, he sent me one. I went with the smallest one that I could just because I think it's probably going to be easier to catch one on this. But when I say small, this thing is still like 8 3/4 inches or something. So you have two pretty thick gauged straight shank hooks that are going to go with the line through system. If you look in the nose there, you can see 2 holes. You can either go through the bottom and add a stinger treble hook on the bottom, or you can do the 2 straight shanks on the top. There's a really big slit down the middle too, so those hooks are going to sit in there real nice and give you a good hookup ratio. So you can see there's 2 stoppers for that second hook, almost like a spinnerbait trailer. And the front of it's going to run up the nose, and at the back they have this little pin which is going to go into the bait and then hold those hooks on the top of the swim bait. So we're going to rig this thing up and we're going to start throwing this around in some pretty deep water, hopefully catch something. Billy's up in the front throwing a new bait that he got. I'm going to show you that in just a second, and hopefully we can run into something. So we got this thing all rigged up. A couple things I like about it: the through line is just going to protect your knot. I mean, the knot's up here in the head, and the shank of the hook is pretty far up there. There's like a little slot that it slides through, so you're not going to have to worry too much about your knot getting all messed up. Obviously, you're going to want to check your line, but there's nothing you can do about that. The double hook system also looks really good. That back pin keeps that hook in there real nice. So you see the pin in the back, fish bites it, pops out. There you go, that's your hook setup. Pretty freaking sweet. So I guess when you're fighting the fish, the bait's gonna be up here, hopefully, so it won't have that 4 ounces to throw around. Yeah. So these baits are a bit on the pricey side too. I wanna say that the 210 was $79 on Defiant's website. I'll leave that link down in the description below if you guys wanna check them out. Looks really good. We're gonna throw it in the water and see what the action's like. Throwing this around on a Dobbins 765, so probably a little bit underpowered. It's only rated up to 2 ounces, and this is a 4 ounce bait, but we'll play around with it for now. Billy's gonna rig up his Hero right now, brand new Hero.
I'm putting this basically just a worm weight on the front of this to get it to sink down. We're in like almost 50 feet of water. So I was doing it without these pegs just a minute ago, but I noticed that as soon as this weight pulls the line down and you start to reel, it goes right over that line because it's got, you know, way up on the line. So I'm going to peg it to the front so it doesn't do that. I'm using a snap swivel. Some baits I prefer them on, some I don't. It just depends on the action that you get out of it. I like the Heroes with the swivel. Definitely have somewhere 4.5 actually.
And it's what, 8 something?
That is at 8 inches.
8-inch Hero trout. It's actually lighter than it looks like it would be.
Mm-hmm. Those are Quattro decoys. Decoy's the company, Quattro is what they call them. Brock is the guy that makes those baits. He actually puts those on there for you, so super nice hardware. You don't have to change anything. A lot of like mass-produced swim baits, you want to swap the hardware out because those hooks aren't really that great. But if you get them from somebody who's like hand making them, they're usually pretty good. But these things are insane. These hooks are the sharpest hooks you could probably
stout
get.
Too.
Yeah.
So hold that thing up. Let's see what it looks like. All right. Let's see if we can catch anything with it.
Let's see.
Got him. Get the net. Oh, that first cast too. In there, baby. Ah! Hell yeah.
No tank, but damn, that was fun.
Dude, first cast with the weight. Oh, that's sick.
This is a Hero. This is the new 8-inch trout. Put probably a 3/8 half ounce bullet weight. Just kind of slipped on there just to have it come down. We're fishing in like 50 feet of water, so I wanted it to kind of get down deep so that we could bring this sweet glide bait down to these fish. And first cast, boom. Counted down to like 10-15 seconds. Sick. Smoked it.
Big baits.
Yeah, all day.
See Hell yeah, dude.
That's awesome.
Right. Let's take a look at this Defiant 210 in the water. So I got the moderate sink. So this is about, let's see here, a little bit less than a foot a second, you think? What do you think? Let's see. 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4. Maybe a little bit less. That's not bad. That's gonna be good for fishing deep too. I would compare this to like a HUD. I feel like it, I mean, it's not as soft as a HUD, but the overall bait stay pretty similar. Has a really light tail kick, and that's pretty much it. The body stays really straight, and that tail is just barely kicking. But Billy made a good point that the big fish, that's what really gets them. Why do you think that is? Just because
it's like the cruising, it's just cruising, you know? It's just like, it looks like it's not worried about those fish at all.
Yeah.
It's like whatever, and it's going really close to them, and they're like, all right, dude, I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna eat you. Yeah.
If you ain't scared, I'm gonna eat you.
That makes sense. It tracks pretty well too. It doesn't roll. A little bit when it's next to the boat when I have 2 feet of line out, but I mean, I can see it coming back from 10 yards out or so, and it looks good. Oh yeah. Little guy. Get in here. Thought he was gonna be big. Oh yeah. Took a quick break from throwing the big swim bait around, and I'm testing out this new worm from 10,000 Fish. This is called the Yoto worm. Perfect for the dealie. It's got 4 different hook channels in here, like a shad kind of profile to it. It's 4 1/4 inches. Awesome looking bait for the dealie, but I mean, truly a super versatile bait. You can fish this on as a trailer for anything: spinnerbait, chatterbait, swim jig, dealie. Obviously, you could fish it weightless like a fluke. You could throw it on a Texas rig. A bunch of stuff you can do with this thing, but it's going to be out on Shop Carl's. I'll leave a link for this down in the description below. I believe next week, so keep your eyes open. Sweet bait. Well, I've been throwing this Defiant swim bait around for the majority of the day. Haven't had any action on it yet. Billy's caught the only swim bait fish of the trip so far. We're gonna keep hammering. We've just been fishing main lake points, looking around for bait, trying around at different depths. The wind just changed direction too. It's the water temp. 90 degrees, 90 and a half. Pretty warm. Deer, snakehead everywhere. No bass, wanna play. What's new? Got a couple. Threw big baits the majority of the day. That's always good to even catch one. So I didn't film an outro the day this video was filmed, but it was awesome. I'm super stoked to have seen Billy caught that fish on the Hero Trout. I gave that Defiant a very valiant effort. I think I threw it around for 4 or 5 hours, and the bait itself is sick. So if you guys want to check that out, I'm going to leave it linked down in the description below. Also, huge thanks to Oliver Nye for sending me that bait. Super kind. Just came out of nowhere. He reached out in my Instagram messages and was just like, hey man, you want to try this thing? And it showed up at my door like a week later. So if you guys want to check Oliver Nye out, I'm going to leave his YouTube linked down in the description below. He is a much better swim bait fisherman than me and more successful. He has like a ton of videos on his YouTube channel of catching just giant fish on big swim baits, and he has a huge knowledge of swim bait fishing too. So make sure you check his channel out. Go watch some of his videos. He's very knowledgeable in the swim bait game and the fishing game in general. A few days after Billy and I were out on the water, I was out fishing with my buddy Matt McCluskey, and you guys are going to see that video coming out in a couple days, but I wanted to share this clip with you real quick.
I'm sure he's fishing this.
I'm sure.
Oh, behind it. Oh my goodness.
Did you see that? It looked huge. I'm just going to let it sink. Dude, that was awesome. Holy. So I was in the same spot where Billy caught his fish on the Hero Trout, and I picked up the Defiant there, and I moved a very, very big fish out of that same spot. Matty was joking around as that bait came into view, and he did the hook set sound, just like whatcha. And we both look at the bait. There's just a giant largemouth behind it, probably like 3 or 4 feet, super lazy, like reminded me totally of a very lazy musky follow. So it kind of got me thinking, this bait specifically may not be the best bait to be throwing in the summer. Now, I could be completely wrong there. I'm gonna reach out to Oliver and ask when he really throws this thing around. I've seen that he's caught some giant muskie on this, and he's probably caught a ton of bass too. With the subtle action of that tail, this may be a better bait to throw in colder water, similar to a HUD, I guess, if you're gonna be just slow rolling it on the bottom. And again, I could be completely wrong. I did move that fish. I got that fish's attention. So there's probably a way to have gotten it to eat. But again, I'll get back to you on that. Not 100% sure. But I will keep throwing that Defiant 210 around quite a bit until I catch a fish on it, and probably more thereafter. I also have a muskie trip coming up in a couple weeks up north. Definitely going to be bringing this with and seeing if we can't hook into a big old toothy mama with it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know there weren't too many fish caught in it, but as far as swim bait fishing goes, if we can catch one fish and kind of give you guys some tips and show you what we're doing and share new baits, I'm happy with it. And I'm also just stoked to share every fish that is caught in my boat or that I'm filming on a bigger bait. So Billy got the win for that one today on the Hero trout, and I was super stoked. I wish I had that front GoPro on too, because that fish smoked his bait. So in other news, and very good news at that, the John Boat tournaments are going to be coming back here on the 26th of July. Officially, it is set in stone. We are kicking it back off. So there actually may be a tournament a little bit before that. I'm going to find out either today or tomorrow, hopefully. There may be one on the 19th, which would be sweet. The tournament director is trying to get a couple extra tournaments written in, so we have more than just like 4 or 5 tournaments. He's trying to get, I think, 7 or 8. So he requested a couple more dates with the park to see if we can fish them. I don't know, but 26th is guaranteed. John Boat tournaments are coming back. I know you guys love those videos so much, and I love fishing those tournaments. So I just had to share that news with you guys. I think that's about it for this one. Make sure you check out all those links down below. And also, if you guys haven't checked out the new merch that we just put up on sbfishingtv.com, please go check them out. It took me a long time to get everything ready and up on that site. So there's some cool hats, cool shirts, hoodies, stuff like that. Got some sun shirts coming soon as well. That's where I'm going to leave you guys off. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one.